Sermon 104 of Nahjul Balagah. Thanks God for the establishment of Islam. A Muslim does not believe in a pre-Islamic era. But it breaks down among the people from time to time, and then God sends one to restore the social order. And I think there's a verse in the Bhagavad Gita that makes the same point. If we realize that Avatar is the same thing as Rasulullah, and what is it, 760? But yeah, so God doesn't let the religion go away. I mean, certain individuals may choose not to be a part, but enough of the guidance will always remain. Islam is something of pillars. As we know, we got the testimony of faith. We have the ritual prayer, same root as the thing in the Bible, salah. We have the charity, the fasting, and the pilgrimage. And no, there's not some secret sixth pillar, but honestly, that is implied in the rest of it. And one can think of the rope. I was raised LDS, and we heard about the iron rod. It's the same metaphor. So we enter into the building of Islam and hold on to the rope, then that's where our safety is. And our argument's going to be right when we're according to it. And our jihad, I don't know if that's what they mean by exert, that becomes a sign. It becomes a sign for others. That's what it's meant by saying that we fight until the religion of God is the utmost, is that we have the freedom and other people have the freedom to practice, express, share Islam. It's not that we're forcing it on people who wouldn't want to be Muslim. And then honestly, some people look at situations like that and that helps them towards things because, there's certainly the sociopathic person that looks how powerful or popular or something a movement is and, decides upon that. And by Islam, they mean what is the best of all paths. Everything good and true, regardless of what path it is Islamic. And those who operate Islam in the different material and psychological modes, they have honor. And good deeds in general are likened to the call to prayer. And the only limit of the extent of Islam should be death. Well, I mean, a dead Muslim is a dead Muslim, but you know what I mean. But then we hear elsewhere, there's some verses in the Quran that do make the point that it's only the body that's dead of the believer. They haven't had the spiritual death as somebody dies in God, as it's said. And I mean, God's omnipresent, so God's beyond any space, but it's meant by the phrase, right? And then the sermon turns to talking about Muhammad. And just like with other prophets, Muhammad was the Luciferian of his time, and that means he was the light bringer. So he lighted the torch that people could use. And are they going to keep the flame alive in their lives? Are they going to reignite some ember to have their own fire? Are they going to take the blessings of either the direct or the tradition of the people who expressed it? What's that verse in the Quran? The way of the believers? That's what we're talking about here. And so we keep our promise. We stay on the path. We show distinction. You know, that's the truth behind the whole Zionism thing, is you're supposed to show distinction. And by our position, we honor those over us. And they are honored, of course, by our, either directly or by others, being witness to their, of their character. And let's not allow doubts to stop us from acting. And let's not give up our position to wrongdoers. Let us be over our own affairs. Saying 153 reminds us that patience keeps us from missing our opportunities. Saying 154 reminds us that agreement with what is right gives you some credit. And agreements are sort of support for what is wrong, even though you don't physically do it. It's as if you're doing the wrong too. And saying 155 reminds us that both in the records of agreements and other things entrusted, it should be those who are steadfast that receive of them.